Welcome to CaravanEAzeem. Most of our stress, anxiety, and inner conflict comes from one illusion: the belief that we are in control. We live as if we chose our life, our body, our timing, and our ending. But if we're honest, none of that was ever in our hands. There's a line of thought I came across recently that honestly shook me in a good way. It's simple, but it takes time to actually live it. The idea is this: a person doesn't become spiritual by collecting information. A person becomes spiritual by learning to control a few inner forces that quietly governs us. This reflection is inspired by a passage from Khutbat Khawaja Shamsuddin Azeemi, rahmatullah alayh, Volume 1, a collection of lectures that explores the nature of inner growth and human responsibility. What stood out to me right away was that this way of thinking isn't about becoming mystical or chasing experiences. It's about something much more practical: the struggle inside the self. At first, spirituality is imagined in a very traditional way. Someone sitting high, others sitting low, people too intimidated to even raise their eyes, almost as if spirituality is a performance or an untouchable status. But then something very different becomes clear. The real work is internal. Real life is not just the outward life we stay busy with, careers, roles, and social image, but the inward life that most of us ignore until something forces us to pay attention. There's also a very humbling realization. Feeling unqualified doesn't disqualify a person. Sometimes responsibility comes before ability. Not because effort doesn't matter, but because ability can develop after surrender. What matters is becoming content with the role life places in front of you, stopping the fight with destiny and beginning to cooperate with it. From here, the idea of two ways of living becomes very clear. One way is to live as if you are completely independent, where ego has to win, opinions have to dominate, control has to be maintained, and something always needs to be proven. And the other way is to live in surrender. Not in a weak sense, but in a grounded one, accepting that existence itself is not self-made. Because when you really reflect on it, we didn't choose where we were born. We didn't choose our family, our body, our features, or our lifespan, or the moment we will leave. When you honestly look at life, the idea that we are fully in control starts to collapse. This understanding doesn't settle quickly. It can take years before it becomes more than just a thought. Anyone can say, we came with nothing and we will leave with nothing. But very few people actually live with that certainty. Ego keeps pulling us back into control, fear, anger, status, and attachments to the world. There's also a clear warning here. Certain inner states quietly undo growth. Three stand out the most: anger, the hunger for power and status, and imbalance in desire. And among these, anger is the most destructive. It can erase what took years to build. And when you look around, it's everywhere: in homes, marriages, friendships, families, and workplaces. This isn't a small issue. It's a spiritual emergency hiding in plain sight. And at the same time, the message isn't to escape the world or reject life. It's about balance. Use what you've been given: work, comfort, resources. But remember that none of it belongs to you in the deepest sense. Use it with gratitude without turning it into ego. And something else becomes clear toward the end. This path isn't built by one person doing everything. It's a caravan, a group, a system. Everyone has a role. Leadership isn't about control. It's about moving forward together and making sure no one is left behind. When I put all of this together, the reflection I take is simple. Spirituality isn't about sounding deep, it's about reducing ego, becoming less reactive, less hungry for control, more surrendered, more balanced, and more aware that guidance isn't found only in books. It's revealed in how you live when nobody is watching. If this kind of reflection resonates with you, follow CaravanEAzeem for more spiritual insights.